1 second, it'll take a bit.
I'm live? I'm live. Welcome, everyone. I am Jeff Hall. I'm the Marine Program Manager for the California Wildlife Center. And I am going to be talking to you guys a little bit today about some of the animals that we rescue at California Wildlife Center, which is located in Malibu. A little bit about our rehabilitation program, how that kind of works. And if we have time, I'll take some questions from you guys. And I have a few questions that were already submitted by the moderator, so I'll get started on a few of those, and then we'll just kind of see how much time allows for us to continue on. So the main species of animals that we see stranded on the beaches here in Malibu would be pinnipeds. Pinnipeds are all types of seals and sea lions. The most common species that we see right now are the California sea lion, and another species that we see quite frequently as well is the northern elephant seal. And these two species, if you're very familiar with looking at marine mammals, they're quite distinguishable from each other. But if you're not too familiar with how they look, I can give you a brief description on how to tell the difference between a California sea lion and a northern elephant seal. California sea lions are probably the ones that you're going to see most often. They're often on boat docks and piers and near shore, often on rocky outcroppings and things like that. The California sea lions have small little ears called pinnae that stick off the side of their head. They have long whiskers that are generally a lighter color, and they also have long front black flippers. The main difference between seals and sea lions is that sea lions are able to turn their rear flippers forward and kind of walk across the beach on them. When we talk about seals are the ones that you will see when they're on the beach. They flop around on the sand like a caterpillar. Seals are unable to turn their rear flippers forward, so that means that they're not able to walk across the beach like a California sea lion does. Northern elephant seals are the most common seal species that we have in this area. And another difference between seals and sea lions, seals do not have any type of ear flap on the side of their head. Certain species of seals may have a little hole on the side of their head. Pacific harbor seals are an example of that. Northern elephant seals have these perfectly round little heads. They look like little bowling balls with big black eyes. And like I said, they just lay flat on the sand. So those are probably going to be the two most common species that you're going to see on the beach in our area. Definitely California sea lions are the ones that you're going to see most often this year especially. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had an extremely high number of California sea lions stranding on our beaches. And therefore, we've rescued over 200. We're probably close to about 240 animals that we've rescued this year. A majority of those are going to be California sea lions. And they're when they're rescued, the pups are generally coming in severely underweight. And an average weight for this time of year that we would like to see a California sea lion pup would be anywhere from 40 to 50 kilograms. Right now, they're coming in. We've rescued some that are as low as 9 kilograms. When they're born, they're usually born between 18 and 20. So we're rescuing animals that are under their birth weight, which is incredible that some of them are even surviving that long. We will typically rescue an animal if it's underweight, if it's emaciated, if it is dehydrated, injured, anything like that. And we will bring it in here and then, treat any sort of obvious injuries or illnesses right away. But generally, the reason why they spend the most amount of time at our facility is because they just need to be fattened up. So they need to get that body weight back on them. All marine mammal species, except for sea otters, rely on a thick layer of blubber around their bodies to keep them warm. They don't usually rely on fur. And so if these animals are coming in and they're emaciated, the reason why they're coming out of the water all the time is because they don't have any blubber on them to keep them warm. That water is cold out there. If you guys are surfers, you know what I'm talking about. We wear wetsuits. Those keep us nice and toasty. If an elephant seal is 50% of what its body weight should be at this time, he doesn't have that nice layer of blubber around him to keep him warm. Therefore, they have to come out of the water every single day to dry off, warm up, and then go back out into the ocean to try and forage for fish on their own. It's kind of turns into a sort of a domino effect, because the more underweight they get, the more time they have to spend out of the water. And that's when we come into play and we fatten them up, give them that nice layer of blubber that will allow them to go back out and forage on their own. And hopefully they'll become better at it and be able to supply themselves with enough calories to keep that blubber layer sufficient enough for them to stay in the water for as long as they need to. California Wildlife Center is currently only accepting pups. And one of the main reasons is because we are a small facility. We just opened our marine mammal rehabilitation department just about 3 years ago. So this is our third season of taking in marine mammals. And right now, just based on logistics and the size of our facility, we can't accept adults. One of the reasons why is because they're huge. If we take in one adult California sea lion, we're going to be taking up about the same amount of space that we could fit anywhere from 8 to 10 California sea lion pups. So since the stranding numbers are much higher for pups than they are for any other age class, we're focusing on pups. Therefore, we can take in more animals, do more rehabilitation for a higher number of animals, and get those guys back out into the wild again. And let's see here. So there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of California sea lion pups stranding on our beaches. Currently, numbers are pretty difficult to narrow down and pinpoint exactly, but the last number that we had as of Monday was about 3,800 California sea lion pups have stranded on California beaches. I would venture to say that that number is extremely low. There's numerous animals that are just not being reported. They could be stranding on beaches that people just don't frequent, so therefore they're not being reported that way. Or it may be an animal that, when we get 15, 25, 30 calls a day, we're unable to respond to all of those. So it's just not going to be something that every single animal that is stranding on the beach is going to be able to be reported. There is always the chance that an animal that is reported is going to have to be left on the beach for a period of hours or days. Once our facility fills up, the other facilities in the area fill up quite quickly as well. So unfortunately, what we've been seeing this year is just not enough space in the rehabilitation facilities for Southern California. And therefore, there are animals that we're unable to rescue, and they have to stay on the beach. We do our best to try and keep tabs of animals that have been on the beach. We try and keep track of how long they have been there, so that when space opens up either at our facility or another facility in the region, the animals that have been on the beach the longest are the first ones to get rescued. But as I'm sure you can understand, they're wild animals, and they don't just sit around on the beach waiting for us to find space to take them to. So a lot of times we'll place animals on watch, and then when space opens up, we'll go back to check and see if that animal is still there and it's no longer in the same location. It makes it quite difficult to, really provide the best care that we can for these animals. But, we're a small organization, and we're doing everything we can, and we are really happy with the progress that we've had this year. And we've had very, very good success rate with the animals that we were able to take in. So that's very exciting. And if anyone ever does happen to come across a marine mammal on the beach, there's a few things that we like to make sure that you guys know. First of all, they're wild animals. Keep your distance. We always suggest people stay at least 50 feet away from a marine mammal. You can stay further. It doesn't matter. Get a zoom lens on your camera. You don't need to go up and take a selfie with it. And if I see one more selfie stick on the beach with a sea lion, we'll have to do something about that. But I would love if everybody just knew, keep your distance from these animals. They are sick. They are many times injured, and they're not keeping 50 feet away from them is only going to cause them stress, possibly send them back out into the water, and then no one will be able to do anything about that. that keeping your distance is the biggest and best thing that you can do for helping these animals. And then call California Wildlife Center, 310-458-9453.